what's up, you guys? Welcome to the Mango Grove. My name is Krisha, and this is today's Bitcoin analysis video. Now, I wanted to do an altcoin, however, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I have not had enough time to really scour through the charts and look for decent enough opportunities for you guys, alright? So I will be leaving the altcoin setups for either tomorrow or the day after. However, I do believe that Bitcoin has given us quite a bit to, well, talk about, not just Bitcoin, but the market as a whole. Okay, I'm sort of evaluating everything that I'm seeing on the chart. Now, Sean did do a live stream over the weekend, which prompted me to go and look at some of the traditional charts out there, particularly SPY and Dixie. Now, I'm seeing something on those charts that's tilting me a bit bullish here. Okay, however, I'm not just going to cut to the chase. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. Of course, we're going to talk about Bitcoin's weekly open and how we closed, well, how did the previous week close up against, well, key regions of support that we were looking at. In addition to that, what's happening with all of our bull market triggers? Are you guys like, are you guys fed up with my bull run triggers that I've been going over? I think it's important because it also, see, when I do these videos, I'm also doing it for myself just to sort of go through all of my checkboxes to see if they're, well, are the checkbox, the checks still there on the boxes, or do I have to eliminate one of them? So we'll be going over those things together. I'm doing this for me as well as for you guys. That way you guys also get an update. So we'll be going over that. In addition to, well, how did the weekly close? I'll be going over the traditional charts that's sort of tilting me a bit bullish here. And I'll tell you exactly what it is that I'm looking at. Okay. And after that, there's one more bullish signature on the dashboard that I caught. Now we'll be, and it's a bullish divergence, which I will be going over with you guys today to see what is really going to trigger that bullish divergence. Okay, which might actually lead to the next sort of pump to the upside, perhaps Bitcoin actually taking out well, key regions of resistance overhead. So with that, let's jump right into, well, Bitcoin. How did the weekly close? In my opinion, I think it closed relatively well. Okay, we have managed to sort of maintain almost every region of support that we managed to reclaim during this entire uptrend. Now, the key regions that I particularly was looking at on the weekly time frame was a 10 simple moving average, as you can see right here. I'm just going to zoom into this price action. I'm currently on the weekly chart, okay? So we're looking at the 10 SMA, but in addition to the 10 SMA, I want you guys to notice the entire sort of setup between the Tenkin, the 21 EMA, as well as the 10 simple moving average. We have bullish crossovers across all three of them, right? We have the 10 SMA living over the 21 EMA. That's a bullish crossover right there. But in addition to that, look at the slopes on both those moving averages, right? And what's cool about this is that this entire setup right now is also living over the Tenkin. Now, if you have to just assess price action relative to the Ichimoku cloud, you'll notice that we have technically already triggered almost like a C-span trade setup. However, the only thing that's really stopping Bitcoin right now is that monthly 55 EMA sort of resistance that we have overhead, which we did get rejected off of on that, well, on the 1st of March, right? On the most recent monthly open, we got rejected off of the monthly 55 EMA, coming in at around 23.4K. However, if we're just assessing the weekly closes right now, I do believe that we have sort of maintained almost every region, not almost, we have maintained all regions of support on the weekly time frame. We have not lost a single one of them on this pullback. Okay, so we are currently living over the 21, the 10 SMA, the Tenkin, as well as if I go ahead and switch on my Mango dynamic indicator, we are also living over the weekly dynamic indicator. All right, so this is a pretty decent close. But in addition to this, all 3 out of the 4 bull run triggers that we were looking at, they're all still very much active. Okay, so just to give you guys a quick sort of refresher, the weekly, as you can see right here, this is one of our triggers, right? The weekly is still currently living over the dynamic. In addition to that, the 4-day dynamic is still it's still green. Price is still living over this as well. But in addition to that, if I go ahead get on over to the monthly time frame, those oscillators are still cross bullish, as you can see right here. And so that's 3 out of 4 bull run triggers that are still very much active. But in one of my previous videos, I showed you guys the golden cross, right? This is the golden cross. Has it crossed bearish yet? No, it hasn't. Okay, but in fact, what's key about this entire sort of price structure up against key regions of support is that we're currently finding support on that 55 exponential moving average. Now, for those of you who actually caught that video where I went ahead and I back tested this golden cross for you on the daily time frame just to show you guys how significant this is, I mentioned something there. I said I did observe a signature on Bitcoin's chart, which basically entailed that every time we do get that golden cross and price does end up seeing a bit of resistance overhead, and we do get that immediate sort of pullback, the signature that I found was price usually pulls back into the 55 EMA. So it's pretty cool to see that we're currently getting supported right off of that region. Okay, the 55 EMA, guys, comes in at around $22,233. Okay, now of course this is something that you can pull up on your chart, so go ahead and pull it up. For those of you who do not have access to the Mango ribbon, we're giving it away for free. So you basically get all of these indicators, including the Ichimoku cloud, just wrapped up in one indicator. So it helps those of you who are on free TradingView accounts. That way you can pull up multiple things at once. So yeah, there's a link in the description below where you can just use it to sign up for the ribbon. But go ahead and check it out. But what's cool right now is that we are currently living over almost all regions of support that we were looking at, right? So I cannot, personally, I cannot get overly bearish here. When do I get bearish on the entire picture for Bitcoin? I'm keeping it very simple for myself. As soon as we start losing that monthly 10 simple moving average, I start seeing weakness across that region on weekly closes. I'm saying that, okay, something different is happening here, at which point I will be looking for contingencies. Okay, now the monthly 10 SMA, guys, comes in at around $20,546. All right, so we start losing that specifically on the monthly close. If March closes underneath the monthly 10 SMA, I'm saying something very different is happening on Bitcoin's chart, at which point I'll be looking for price to sweep the lows. But before then, I'm not going to be jumping the gun. My bullish stance still remains intact for as long as my triggers remain intact. Now, I have walked you through all of the signatures that I'm looking at so far. The 3 bull run triggers, in addition to the golden cross, everything is a-okay. Now, why am I leaning a bit bullish here? It's because of this. Over the weekend, Sean did a live stream and I was on chat. And anyways, he was going through the charts, which prompted me to go through the charts on my end. And I specifically looked at 2 sort of traditional charts out there, which was the dollar strength index, and I looked at SPY. Okay, I'm going to first take you guys on over to SPY, which is the S&P 500, right? If I go on over to SPY, okay, this is SPY's chart. Let's get on over to the weekly time frame specifically. All right, now check out SPY's weekly close. This closed on the Friday, guys. SPY freaking rallied, and if there's anything that I have been taking note of over the past couple of months now, is the correlation between SPY and Bitcoin. And so far, they've been moving very, very, very well together. Right, so I noticed the strength on SPY, and that immediately sort of threw me off. I'm like, oh, when did it close like this? Why did I not see this? Now, my excitement stemmed from the fact that I noticed that every time SPY was up against resistance, a key resistance, and now I'm looking, I'll tell you exactly what it is that I'm looking at. I'm looking at specifically the 55 simple moving average for SPY. Okay, let's go ahead and bring that up. Now, this has had excellent playthrough. I'm not going to go over the back testing. I want you guys to put in some work, some effort. If you guys want to know how SPY has performed along the 55 simple, go ahead and do the back testing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and knock off the Ichimoku and the EMA for now. But I was primarily looking at how price closed up against that 55 simple moving average. Now, I noticed that on that previous candle right there on 21st of Feb, we actually lost it, at which point I told Sean, I'm like, SPY is not looking good. I'll be looking for a pullback on Bitcoin too. And what do you know? We actually did get that pullback. It was very sudden, but it came, right? Now, on this most recent weekly close, we actually managed to reclaim that 55 MA once again. So I will be looking at how price opens relative to that on this coming weekly open. Okay, if we manage to still open above that region, coming in at around 399, I will be looking for a further sort of move to the upside, getting back up to the highs right here at around 413. Okay, at which point I'm saying that there is a good chance that Bitcoin also rallies from here. But another thing that really added to this, now this was a bit weak, right? I'm noticing a correlation, but okay, fine, these correlations can break. But what's the other thing that people, that we have been looking at, and there's been some really, really decent playthrough with Bitcoin, and this chart being having an inverse correlation. That, guys, is Dixie, right? The dollar strength index. Now, along with SPY, this was the other chart that I was looking at that was tilting me a bit bullish. Okay, I'm looking at Dixie along 104. Okay, now Dixie is your dollar strength index, and it usually has an inverse correlation with other risk-on indices as well as other risk-on stocks and even cryptocurrencies. So we can see that, okay, when Dixie started rallying, we saw many of the other sort of risk-on assets, equities primarily, actually take a pullback, right? So we saw Dixie actually close on the week of 20th of Feb. Dixie actually closed over that 104 region, which has had historic significance. Now, once again, guys, you can go ahead and mark it on your charts. Now, you'll see the historic significance dating all the way back to 81, the year 1981. Okay, so now depending on how sort of price, or rather, depending on the strength that we see on the dollar relative to 104, that is really going to paint the picture for other risk-on assets, okay, specifically equities, specifically cryptocurrencies. Now, if we get another weekly close underneath 104, I'm saying dollar likely weakens even further and will likely going to be coming down even further, perhaps grazing the lows right here. Okay, so basically the dollar dropping to, well, the strength index of 102. So that's essentially what I'll be gunning for, but I want to see a bit more weakness along this to really sort of confirm my my bullish thesis on equities as well as cryptocurrency. Okay, but so far I'm saying this, based on how Dixie closed, this is a bullish tilt for risk-on assets. Okay, so I'm looking at this. I was looking at SPY. I noticed that I've been noting the correlation between SPY and Bitcoin. Every time SPY is up against resistance, it's usually been the front runner between Bitcoin and SPY. SPY has been leading the way. So SPY is looking good in terms of overarching resistance. We essentially took back resistance. Dixie's losing support. Now, in addition to this, I was actually on the Mango dashboard today, and I was specifically looking at the 2-day time frame, and I'm noticing I was sort of assessing the trends. Now, the trend on Bitcoin is short across the 4-hour. The 4-hour freaking volatility is dead at 3. Short on the 12-hour, short on the daily, and I looked at the 2-day, and I noticed, okay, 2-day flipped neutral. I'm like, but I noticed the flag that went off here, which is potential bullish divergence. So that sort of piqued my interest. I'm like, okay, what is the overarching picture? We're seeing some of the traditional charts actually have a bit of a bullish tilt to it. In addition to that, Bitcoin is sitting on weekly support, massive weekly support. We're sitting on daily support. Let's get on over to Bitcoin's chart quickly. Okay, we're sitting on daily support, and you're telling me now Bitcoin has drawn down into macro support with bullish divergence on the 2-day time frame? I'm like, that's an interesting picture. So let's go ahead and dissect that bullish divergence, shall we? Okay, so let's go ahead, turn on the oscillators. Now, guys, I've mentioned this before, you know, if you guys have some other bearish tilt that I perhaps am missing, let me know. Like, I want someone to check my biases if I have any biases, right? So let me know. I mean, I'm seeing maybe a couple of bearish signatures on the chart, but nothing too aggressive to trump all of the other bullish signs on the chart. Now, of course, if we get growing technical weakness, we start losing support, I will change tune then. But for now, I'm going to call a spade a spade. Now, for one, 2-day, we're living underneath the 21 EMA, but I switch on the dynamic and notice we're still within that dynamic cloud. Right, so I'm noticing all of these sort of signatures. But anywho, let's go ahead and turn on those oscillators. And I want to go ahead and dissect the bullish divergence with you guys on the 2-day time frame. So now the bullish divergence, guys, whenever you're dissecting a divergence play, the first thing you need to understand is what is your look back period, right? Because if you're not using the right look back period, your divergence, you can really mess up your divergence and you can play to the wrong tune at that point. So our look back period that I'm using on the oscillator is 14 bars, right? So this is 14 bars from where price is at right now, this bar right here, all the way to 6th of Feb 2023. Okay, I'm on the 2-day time frame. And if you notice this entire period, this entire stretch, let me just go ahead and sort of box it out for you guys, okay? Okay, this is the period that we're looking at. I'm going to just color this maybe a yellow. Cool. So that's the look back period. And now if you just look at the oscillators and you look at the price action, I'm sure you guys have already spotted out the divergence, right? This is it right here. We're looking at this low all the way to this one, and we're looking at this low. So we're looking at the corresponding lows, okay? All the way to this one. Sorry, let me just fix that for you. Okay, so now when does this trigger? As soon as, number one, Bitcoin takes out this high right here. This high comes in at around $22,652. You want to take that number down, go ahead and take that number down. But not only does Bitcoin have to live over that region, Bitcoin also has to make sure that it doesn't break the low of that candle, okay, which comes in at around $22,170, right? So we have to live over the wick high of that, as well as maintain this wick low as the lowest point right there. Okay, so we cannot come down to, well, take it out, right? Only then will the bullish divergence stay active, right? If Bitcoin actually starts taking out that previous low, the bullish divergence gets negated, in my opinion. So that's the price action you want to look for. You want Bitcoin to take out the high coming in at around $22,652, as well as maintain the low at around $22,170. That's when the bullish divergence goes off. What is the next target that I personally gun for? Well, the first target, I'm keeping it very simple for myself, monthly 55 EMA, 23,449. At the very least, man, I want to start seeing weekly closes over that region. I'll be honest. I want to see minimum 2 closes once again over that region, 2 to 3. That would be telling. So if we can get that, in addition to us taking out once again that very, very stubborn weekly cluster of resistance overhead, we have the 55, 200, 200 exponential. If we can take that out, nothing like it. The entire cluster, the top of the cluster comes in on the 200 simple, I believe, which is coming in right now at 25,264. Okay, we managed to start living over that region. I'm saying that weekly C-span trade, right, that we went over earlier in the video. Let's go ahead and pull that up very quickly. Okay, from essentially, let's turn off the EMAs, and I'm going to switch off all my lines. Essentially, the Tenkin going all the way up to the Kijun which comes in at around 31,861. So we're looking at $25,000 going all the way up to 31K, right? Roughly, that's going to be another 23% to the upside. I think we're going to be clear for that trade setup. Okay, if we take out the cluster of resistance up here at around 25.3K. So that is the move I'll be gunning for, contingent on these things playing out. When do I get uber bearish? You guys already know, monthly 10 SMA. We start closing critical weekly candles as well as monthly candles underneath the monthly 10 SMA. I'm saying, yeah, get ready for Bitcoin to sweep the lows again. Although at that point, you need to understand that all my bull run triggers, they all get negated. Okay, in fact, Bitcoin does something very different from its historic signatures. It'll be the first time that Bitcoin actually loses the monthly 10 SMA after closing 2 consecutive months over it. That has never happened in Bitcoin's history ever. Okay, at which point we'll have to sort of sit back and reevaluate our positions, and as well as the overarching direction of the market, what to expect from then on. So yeah, I mean, as soon as we start getting additional price action on this, I will be giving you guys updates. But this is the overarching picture on Bitcoin. Still smack up against support. We have bullish divergence getting into macro support with Dixie weakening as well as SPY rallying. I think there is a bit of a bullish tilt here. That's something that, you know, prepare for. And I will always tell you this, if you're catching bids, catch your bids on support. Okay, because they become very, 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 very easy to manage. Right now, Bitcoin is sitting on 10 SMA. This is, now I speak to all of you trying to build your long-term allocations here. Bitcoin is currently sitting on the 10 SMA. We're sitting on daily 55 EMA. We have the daily 200 simple moving average right underneath us. We're very, very close to the daily, the weekly dynamic, apologies, as well as I believe we have the 21 EMA also somewhere there. Right, so 21.3K. But there's a lot of support underneath Bitcoin right now. So for those of you looking to get in those long-term allocations, there's no better sort of region to really manage any of your positions off of right now. I think we're sitting on a very critical juncture in the market. So far, my thesis on market conditions right now is still swinging bullish. Until all of my triggers get negated, I will be swinging bullish. Okay, now of course, if there's anything that you see that perhaps I'm not seeing, let me know in the comment section below and I will take a look at it. And if it's good enough, like I said, I will bring it up in the next video. Okay, and yeah, with this, guys, I'll see you in the Discord chat. Go ahead, come on in, join the Discord chat if you haven't already done so, and I will see you guys there. With this, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao, you guys.